Yo, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on our third day strong, the third day of daily uploads and the third day of Buffalo Bills training camp. And despite the fact that reports are saying that the actual training camp and practice today was a lot lighter compared to Monday and Tuesday, we have a lot of stories to cover. We have to talk about the fact that not all hope is lost for fans to be in the stadium this year. We need to talk about the workouts of these two punters that ended up coming in, and then we also need to dissect the Sean McDermott interview and get a better idea of what we should expect from some of our newer additions. Definitely a very intriguing show. Before we do that, I need to give another giant announcement. Smash the out of that like button, ladies and gentlemen. And so yeah, Del Mafia. So first story pertaining to camp, I guess, or just the Buffalo Bills in general. Not all hope is lost for fans to be in the stadium in 2020. Apparently, the NFL is really trying to allow Buffalo to have fans in the stadium. Now, I totally understand that it's not the NFL's call. It's going to be up to the state of New York. However, in my opinion, this was inspired once the Kansas City Chiefs announced that they would be allowing 22% of their fan base to sit in Arrowhead, and that just caused the Buffalo Bills to send out surveys to their longtime season ticket holders to get their feedback to see whether or not they would show up, say that they were to have the opportunity to do so. Now, don't get me wrong. We all know that the Buffalo Bills fan base is ridiculously passionate, and I really don't foresee someone being like, nah, no way. There's no way. We're definitely going to have 22% of fans in that stadium if we were so allowed. I guarantee you that seats would still be sold out. That's definitely interesting. We will definitely keep an eye on that. Maybe tailgating season might not even be remotely out of the question either. Only one can hope. And so the second story, this was something that I forgot to mention in my last training camp update. The Buffalo Bills surprisingly welcomed two punters to a workout on Tuesday. And so those guys just so happen to be Lashlin Edwards and Matt Bosher. Now, this was sort of out of left field in my opinion, especially since we already have two punters on the roster as of right now. The 2019 starter, which was Corey Bojorquez, and then a recent acquisition of Vevdick. I completely forgot his first name. Shoot me. This really raises a lot of questions, right? It has to say that Bojorquez is not having a great camp. I mean, maybe the coaches saw a terrible performance by him on Monday, and they're like, you know what? Fuck this, we need to bring in some competition and really light a fire under his ass. Now, both of these guys, with Edwards being 29, he was a former 7th-round pick from the New York Jets in 2016, and Bosher, who's 32, was a 6th-round pick in 2011. I'm really not seeing them prance in and becoming the for sure starter. I'm really thinking that this is just something that they'll just light a fire under Bojorquez's ass and just introduce some more competition. So now getting into training camp, what exactly happened? Like mentioned previously, apparently today was relatively light. In fact, I was told / read it was just really a light practice. Basically a walkthrough, nowhere near compared to the full contact practices that were going on Monday and Tuesday. Have no fear. Tomorrow we seem to resume that same atmosphere as of Monday and Tuesday, but today was sort of a cakewalk for the most part. And as far as injuries are concerned, it looks like the running list is Pat DeMarco, and then Ed Oliver still seems to be out with that sore hip. From the interview that Sean McDermott gave, it sounds like he'll be back shortly. Robert Foster is sitting out for his second day in a row. Quentin Jefferson was a new one on the injury report so far. He's suffering a sore foot. Sean McDermott, once again, didn't seem too concerned about this one. And then obviously John Feliciano and Tommy Sweeney. That news broke weeks ago. We all know that. And then non-contact jerseys have been the same 3 days in a row, which is Voshon Joseph and Isaiah Hodgins. So certainly something to think about. We do need to be thankful that, knock on wood, we haven't seen any terrible injuries. Something like 6 to 8 weeks of not being able to play, minus John Feliciano. Let's hope that he recovers quickly. But so far, it's been a relatively healthy camp. The big news really comes down from the interview that came from Sean McDermott prior to practice, where he actually ended up covering a lot of very cool topics, right? One reporter asked him, they understand that Stephon Diggs is completely opening the offensive playbook, but what exactly is Stephon Diggs doing for the Buffalo Bills defense? And so McDermott just raved on the competitive edge that Stephon Diggs brings, especially in these 11-on-11s. He said he's watched Stephon Diggs match up against not only Levi Wallace, Josh Norman, and Trey White as well. And it's really fun to watch those type of athletes go against each other. Iron sharpens iron, baby. And so another thing that Sean McDermott ended up bringing up was Daryl Williams. Now, Daryl Williams began his career for the Carolina Panthers, and he just so happened to be on the exact same squad as Sean McDermott during, I believe it was the 2015 and 2016 year. Now, granted, Sean was coaching on the other side of the ball, but he did have this to say about Daryl. Number one, he looks healthier than he did a couple of years ago, which is good to see. He's played a couple different positions, so he offers position flexibility. This is a young man that we feel has yet to play his best football and become the best version of himself. Now, little do you guys know, Daryl Williams had a Pro Bowl year a couple of years ago, and then it was plagued by injury. And then last year in Carolina, the guy essentially didn't even have a position. He was rotating around the offensive line, and it was very difficult to see whether or not that he was being effective. Say that we're getting this from Sean McDermott, then that can only be a good sign that it's clear that Daryl understands the negative feedback that maybe he's getting from the media, and he really has a chip on his shoulder, and he's coming to Buffalo to show that he's going to be a huge asset to our offensive line. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we need that. And so especially since you guys know that I believe that our biggest weakness is hands down the offensive line. And so well done, Mafia. Like I said, very short camp today. There really wasn't a lot reported outside of that. Say, for example, that you might have heard a piece of news that I didn't drop in this video. Let me know. That always helps out the channel, and I'll try to cover it tomorrow during my Day 4 update. Once again, say that you're new here. My name is Dan Mitchell, and I regularly put out Buffalo Bills videos. If that's your cup of tea, I highly recommend smashing that like button, smashing the subscribe button, and while you're doing so, screaming, "Let's go Buffalo."